everybody, we are back. Welcome to another episode of More Than a Title. I'm your host as usual, Jarrett Thomas, Chief Revenue Officer at Outside the Box Digital. And you know I got my brother, my brethren, your favorite CEO's favorite CEO, Chadeo. What's good, baby?
We in the building, man. I got on black today. You know,
I was just about to bring it up.
Before you can even say something, I got on black today. We magic. I am supporting another brand. You know what I'm saying? American Couture. Shout out to Al Karim. You know, brother Al, man.
Brother Al.
Yeah, shout out to brother Al, man. You know, he got his own clothing line, so you know we always got to support. This platform is all about supporting. So we got on American Couture by Al Karim. Go get you one.
Yep, quick drip track. We got Bet on Yourself by Outside the Box Digital. You know, if you want more merch from More Than a Title, please bet on yourself, guys, and please go to the website.
we got it in stock. We definitely got it in stock.
All sizes, all
flavors.
But before we begin, y'all, as always, we have a great episode lined up for you guys. But before we introduce this brother, let's please give a shout out to you guys, the listeners, the followers, the supporters. It's because of you guys we're growing and glowing every week across every platform. Our downloads are up. Our watch time is up. So we truly thank you from the bottom of my heart. Please make sure you like and subscribe. And also, if you like more content, like More Than a Title, please make sure you download the Live Podcast Network app for more content just like this. And also shout out to our exclusive production partners, Real Block Pictures, for all great visuals that we got. We got some great in-persons coming up, y'all. So a lot of new visuals, a lot of little nooks, because we're trying to give y'all, try to improve the show constantly for you guys. But
working.
Definitely working, and it's an early episode too. I'm loving it. But let's get into it, man. This one we have a great episode lined up. This gentleman here is the Chief Marketing Officer at DreamData, which is a revenue attribution platform that collects, joins, and cleans all data to give insightful value to your business. This brother is a subject matter expert in connecting marketing activities with revenue. He has exceptional growth mindset, is a data-driven by heart, and loves all parts of scaling the commercial side of his business. A notorious growth hacker with successful track record of scaling businesses and building teams at Upwork, Airtame, and knows the pain points of rapidly scaling marketing and growth firsthand. Let's introduce the Chief Marketing Officer at DreamData, Steffen Hedebrandt. How are you, man?
Welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you so much, Jared, for that pitch, man. That was great.
Yes, sir. We gotta get you an air horn too. Let's get you an air horn.
I just want to say though, before we jump into it, we're a little disappointed, Steffen. We're a little disappointed because you were here. About 2 weeks ago, right here at Hot Sauce.
Yeah, I was right there.
Yeah, we came down to Hot Sauce to see you, man. We came down there. Yeah, man. We tried to surprise you. Me and Jarrett was looking for you. We must have walked in about every conference room they had in there. They were talking. So we was about to go, yo, Steve, yo, Steph.
Is he here?
Steph, put one hand up in the air right now.
Do you know him?
I even went up the stage with a time slot so you guys could find him.
Well, we missed you.
We missed the first day. So we came the second day. That was the problem.
Yeah, we wanted to surprise you though. We did go to Hot Sauce, man. We wanted to see you in person, let you know that we would definitely support something that you were doing, especially if you were in our backyard. You in the United States in Manhattan, we would have to come support you. So we're a little disappointed we didn't get to, link up with you in person, but we're glad you're on the show now.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for that super awesome intro. Hopefully I can give some value back to your listeners.
No, it's going. I can tell, man. You got a lot of value, brother. We're gonna start class. Class is in session right now. First period, y'all. First period. So let's start from the top, Steffen. So obviously you're from Europe, right? Or you can tell us a little bit about your upbringing, your background, and then we'll kind of segue into your business.
Yeah, like if we go to that kind of the long, slow path, then I'm from a small town, which is 150,000 people in Denmark. Grew up with my mom and dad in a suburb, went to school, went to like university and so forth. Always played a lot of sports during my youth and played a lot of computer games as well. And I think both things are probably ingrained in me. Kind of you're doing some sort of activity and you're trying to figure out what's this game, how do I get better at it, is there any cheat code somewhere that I can rely on to power up my character or football team or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that kind of that motion of trying to figure out what's the game, how do I improve the game, how do I win that game, I think that has kind of kept with me from whatever I've been doing ever since in my more professional career. Like whether it's SEO or LinkedIn or paid ads or whatever, it's kind of a game and there's some codes and like things you need to learn to understand. And to game them somewhat.
Yeah, no, that's a I can see why you're in conversion marketing. I can see why it's definitely a game. It's definitely a lot of testing, a lot of A/B testing, a lot of figuring it out, right? Figuring out and knowing your audience. So but why marketing though? I'm curious. Because that could apply to a lot of different industries.
It's a good question. Like as many other people, it's kind of a coincidence. As I was like going to university, it was kind of that cool safe path would be to become like a management consultant and produce slides and go travel around to companies. But there was this kind of shift towards the internet becoming more and more cool, and you can build a business on the internet. And one thing led to the other, and I found myself as an assistant of one of these entrepreneurs who made a lot of money before the .com crash. And he then set up like an investment fund where he wanted to like put some money into different kind of entrepreneurs. And I just got put into this this vintage music instrument platform where this together with the co-founder or the founder of the company, which were a rock musician and a school teacher. Then I had to kind of figure out, hey, how do we actually get traffic on the website? Like we had like 10,000 Gibson, Les Paul, and Fender Stratocasters and all that crap. And how do we actually move this up in the Google search engine? So when people are searching for these things, we pull in that traffic and then help sell that guitar. So we divided that, like the rock musician, he talked to the music shops, and then I had to figure out how to get traffic on the website and get people to convert and to like write to these music shops. And so like it's been all kinds of just like one discipline at a time. Like it started out with SEO, then paid ads, and then PR, and like how are these mechanics in this particular thing.
Yeah, I did this. I was kind of my journey is pretty similar, but I do, before I get into ours, what was the biggest lesson you learned being an assistant for that founder?
Oh, there's a lot.
What's one that you?
What I took from me, I took some tools, which were kind of how does Google work, how does ads work. But I think the most important lesson I learned is that if you don't produce a lot of revenue, you run out of money at some point. Like you need to be making those subscriptions run, or like you have a bank account and that bank account gets smaller and smaller. So if you run a business, you need to sell, you need to produce money all the time, and that should be your focus. It's nice if there's other metrics that are going up, but if you're not selling more, you need a really good plan of what are you doing besides selling. And that business ended up running out of money, even though we went from 0 to 6-digit organic traffic from Google every month.
Wow. Wow. But how did that happen though? You said you went from 6 figures to running out of money. How did that happen?
No, so we had 0 organic visitors on that website initially to more than 100,000 visitors every month coming in. Mm-hmm. That traffic then translated into requests on guitars, but we had the physical shops were putting their instruments on our website. But this is then 2008, 2009. So people had no fucking clue what the value, like we would be sending some vintage guitar shops 5,000 visitors a month. We would struggle to get them to pay us $20, $40, $60 or something like that, which is like, when you know what a click on an ad costs nowadays, it's completely stupid that we struggled with it, but we didn't manage to convince people. So we grew the organic traffic greatly. Mm-hmm. But we were not able to extract money out of the people that were supposed to pay for these things. So I learned kind of that hard way that you need to get money out of your customers, otherwise you don't have a business long term.
Yeah,
but it was fun.
Was it because of the attribution? Because just for the listeners, right? So if Steffen is doing organic marketing for a guitar shop, right? He's bringing them 5,000 local visitors, right? Now the guitar shop is like, out of those 5,000 visitors, who's actually making a purchase for a vintage guitar? And and especially in 2008, attribution was, and plus even now, think about how crazy the customer journey is now, right? You still won't be able to really do a one-to-one attribution, right? I might have found the guitar on LinkedIn. I might have seen you on an Instagram post, and then I might have went to the site, clicked on the ad, left, come back 2 weeks later and then finally made the purchase.
Yeah. In a nutshell, I think that's the problem. Like, but think about people who own vintage instrument shops, like people spending too much time on Woodstock or at rock concerts. They're not necessarily too digitally savvy, and I think it just goes to show how many components needs to be just about right for a business really to take off. And I think we managed to actually generate great momentum, but because we didn't manage to explain those people that were supposed to tell us why was this valuable, we didn't succeed. Wow. I think today it would be very different because you have the Shopifys, the Magento shops, the WooCommerce shops that all work great. But back then, this was all kind of personal built websites with like no proper infrastructure. And that was a fail, but we learned a ton trying to go for this.
Wow.
I mean, would you consider, knowing what you know now, just about business in general, right? One would say anything with the word vintage. If I hear vintage something, right, the first thing I'm going to think about is niche. Niche market, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of businesses out there that is, the market is very small to begin with. Like, whether you master it or not, it's, it's just not something that's widely spread. So like a vintage guitar, first of all, you got to find somebody, like you said, that's into music that heavy, right? And then can appreciate and understand that having this piece of equipment is either a collector's piece or like a showcase piece or something like that. So I would think that's a very small market if you guys were a startup business for you to even venture into initially. I mean, what was the decision making process and even getting in the market that niche?
I think I've grown to love niches actually.
Okay.
because there's less noise, but if you think about it, then these collectors, this is 2008, 2009, whenever they were trying to, these are collector types that kind of love geeky, like it has to be the 1972 Gibson Les Paul guitar. And if they could only go down to the few local shops on Manhattan, then they would never find these guitars. So the whole thing was trying to, though it's not the world's largest market, then if we could still aggregate all the biggest shops in the biggest cities in the world, this would create transparency about where does these instruments live. Yeah. And then they would actually be able to find these instruments. It still annoys me to this day that we didn't quite manage to nail it, because there was a lot of good momentum there, but didn't manage to the value construct was kind of just wrong, because we did get a lot of traffic going. We did send a lot of traffic to the websites, but we didn't kind of make the shops understand the value of these things. And, at some point you then run somewhat out of money.
Yeah. But what were I got to put my sales hat on, Steffen. So if you're selling it to the guitar people, what were the KPIs that they were measuring your success on? You're like, hey, I'm going to do a campaign for you guys. I'm going to bring you 5,000 organic visitors. They understood that and knew that, and they just still didn't want to pay.
Yeah, I think we did stuff like where we would say like the average click from a Google search ad would cost you $1, and we send you 500 visitors, and you're just paying us $50. But I think it was just the internet and these shop owners was just very immature in understanding digital back then. So the fact that they would start to receive more emails in their inbox, they might not necessarily connect or even understand the value of where's this traffic coming from. I think nowadays there's a lot of smart affiliate systems where you could probably have, if you sold a guitar worth $20,000 and the first time you saw this customer were through that platform, and we could take a 2-3-4% cut of that, and then everything had been fine. But live and learn.
Yeah, because I'm in my head, I'm thinking that's a simple sale right now. If I can show you proof that out of these 5,000 visitors, one person brought a $10,000 guitar and you're only paying $50, this is a home run. Why wouldn't you do it 3, 4, 5 times a month, right?
Yeah. I think just the internet was just very very much not mature back in 2008.
For sure.
And you think about like a 60-year-old in 2008.
Yeah,
They grew up without the internet, so
yeah.
it was a different kind of people that probably the people that are there today.
Yeah, because it's funny you say that, because in 2008 or 9, that's when I got into the business. That's when I got, like, maybe a little after, right? But I was selling display advertising, right, to small businesses. So we'd have a network before Google Ads. Google Ads was there, but we had above the fold placement on Google Ads. So we had like Meredith, Scripps, Universal, all those publications. So think of BET, Home and Garden Network, Better Homes and Gardens, Nick Jr. We had all those placements. So if you're a children's birthday party planner, we're putting you on Nick Jr. next to relevant content. Right.
Yeah,
the only problem was we give you the traffic and it was nice, but they wanted to qualify the traffic, right? Where's the conversion come from? What is this? Yeah, I'm on BT.com, but what does that really mean for my business, Jarrett? And I'm assuming you kind of had the same thing, but we had a higher price point. I'm wondering if the price point made it feel like it wasn't, you know, I mean, you sent me $50 for 5,000 visitors. I'm like, huh?
Yeah, that might be. Yeah.
Yeah. So that, but what was the let's leave from there. What happened after that? So the business dissolved.
Yeah, it's kind of
next step?
Once you look backwards, it's kind of connected a lot of it. So back then, that if you don't know if you remember that book called The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss.
Yeah.
That came out about the same time, and I started using. He then recommends different kinds of platforms where you can find people to work for you, so you don't have to work yourself.
Mm-hmm.
One of these platforms were called elance.com. Like it's like a freelancer aggregation platform.
Mm-hmm.
And then like during like the next year or two, I started to manage like a workforce of like people in India, people in Europe, people in the US, all through this kind of platform, using that to kind of like, I would have a lead researcher in India, and then some people in Europe writing mails and doing customer success work, and then a salesperson in the US. And all of this kind of running on top of this digital platform. So when this, and then I wrote a few blog posts for their website, Elance's website, about how we kind of orchestrated all that. And when they were then opening their first office in Europe, they asked me whether I wanted to join that team and help kind of launch that platform in Europe. And after then kind of 2.5 years of going at that music platform that never really paid any greater salary, I thought like just fuck it, now I'm gonna take a more normal job and make a better salary for some years, and ended up there. Elance then merged with Odesk, which then became Upwork, which I think today is still the world's biggest freelancer platform. So ended up there running the Nordic countries, trying to get businesses here in these parts to hire more people digitally.
I was on mute. I was gonna ask you too. You know what's when you got there and they merged into Upwork? Because I was gonna ask you like, where's this company now? Because I was thinking Fiverr. Basically, that's what it is. It's Fiverr, Upwork, all those other things, right? Yeah. But when you're at the company early and they merge to another brand, what advice would you give to people who are going through mergers of businesses in order to successfully go through that?
I think now I was not in charge of that company, but they went for like a middle step where kind of when the merger happened, they ran for, I don't remember whether it was 1 or 2 years, where they ran as the company called Elance-Odesk, and there was 2 websites live. And that was kind of just then doing a presentation. Hey, we're Elance-Odesk, and we have this website and we have this website. So go sign up and let's have fun. Before that Upwork brand got introduced. So I would have, it's kind of like ripping off the Band-Aid, and I would just have, in the ideal world, and I don't know the practicalities behind, but you would have made that switch directly into that Upwork brand rather than have that intermediate brand name that didn't have any value, because you were either a user of that platform or the other platform, and you just spend a year or two throttling with this intermediate step.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna merge 2 brands, decide on what's it gonna be called, whether it's just sunsetting one of those 2 brands or inventing a complete new brand. Do that fast rather than spend a year or 2 contemplating on what's about to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been a part of a few different mergers, right? So the reason why I asked that, because you obviously seem like a very smart person. You've mastered the SEO, you've done that. You're moving into this new brand. You're working with different principles of the business, and then sometimes they merge and bring their own people in. So to get your own thoughts in, to get your own values heard from new leadership is very, very effing hard. So I'm gonna imagine that's how you kind of got into DreamData. It was like I'm doing my own thing.
I think in general, you need simple stories that people can remember. Like in some ways, I think about like kind of a brand or like stories. It's energy that needs to travel. And if that energy is just, it's Elan's, there's 2 platforms and this is for this and this is for that, then the messaging just becomes super hard. What do you explain your parents that you do? Like you need to like crystallize what is the messaging that we want to get across, because that enables anybody from sales to product to CS to marketing to become much more effective, because you know the story. If you pitch it 100 times and it works, then it's going to travel a lot easier.
Message.
I got a question for you though. I've seen a lot of companies do it though. I've seen a lot of companies coexist. They will have call it a sister company or a counterpart that pretty much really does the exact same thing, right? With a completely different name, completely different logo, right? And you don't even know that both of these companies are owned by the same entity, right? But what I have seen them do to differentiate themselves a little bit is what price point they'll be at, right? One company will be at a lower price point to catch the low-hanging fruit and the smaller B2B sales and stuff like that. And then the next company will be at a higher price point and try to go after the mid-level to the higher level. That way, I think they do that so that when these companies have these mergers, right, they don't have to lay so many people off. So many people don't have to lose their job, because how do you quantify somebody's value versus somebody else, especially if they've helped build that company up to what it is today? So if Jarrett's been with a company 10 years and he's been doing his thing, and you've been with your company 10 years and you've been doing your thing, now that we're merging, right, and you guys like do almost the same thing, what, how do you say like, well, he's better, who do we let go? I think it's a tough call to do that. And then on a massive scale, you're not doing it for one person. A lot of times when these mergers happen, you were talking an entire hundreds of people that might lose their job. So I think they do that to coexist. What are your thoughts on that? Like,
I think, Chad, you coined it quite well. Like, if there's a possibility to do like real differentiation, you can run off on these running 2 different companies. I do think it makes sense if you're buying somebody who's doing completely the same as you, then that kind of merger and then the risk of some people losing the jobs are more fair. But if you're acquiring stuff where there's a clear differentiation path, then I think there's this option for people to keep the job is more valid.
Yeah, good.
Well, I mean, because you see it all the time in movies, right? I mean, like TV shows and movies, like when companies like buy into companies, people go to work and then there's just like a pink slip in their desk, like their locker, like, we don't, we're gonna merge with so and so, and thank you for your service, we don't need you no more. I think that's very harsh on the.
It sucks, bro. I've been through 3 in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Wow.
Three different mergers. The first one was at the display advertising company. We had 3 CEOs in a span of 6 months, which was difficult. So imagine me being a top seller. It's like, hey, Jarrett, there's a new guy. Meet Mark. Mark sits you down. He's like, yo, look, I see you doing sales. This is what we need, but this is our new objective. We're looking to reach these new customers, and this is what I need you to do and execute. Go. 2 months later. All right, scrap all of that shit. F the customers you told that to. This is the new objective. And then in part 3, did it again. And there was another company, Scribble Live, I worked at, LinkDex, actually. So that's where I met Chris and them, chat. So we're doing this. We're rocking and rolling. First 3 months, man, I'm killing sales. Next thing you know, they're sold to another company, and they're merged into called Scribble Live, and they had basically like 6 different brands they were trying to merge together at one time. And a lot of people was there at LinkDex that started the brand from the ground up, that even allowed it to be sold, got fired. Just got fired right off the rip. Hey, you either want this check or you don't. Get the hell out. And it was very simple. It was very abrupt.
Yeah, but because think about it, right? If Steffen has been working, how long have you been with DreamData right now, Steffen? How many?
We're running at like for 4.5 years or something like that now.
Beautiful.
You've been with your team for 4.5 years. I've been with my team for 4.5 years, right? I'm a CEO, right? What if my company merged with yours, right? And I took over now the CEO position for your company. I have a way that I like to run things, but you are clearly comfortable with your team. So you understand it's almost like an impossible balance, because when you bring somebody in a C-suite position, right? You're saying we're hiring you to do a job because we have faith in your direction or where you're going to take the company. So that means when that new CEO that took over, Jarrett, that's his job to say, well, this was his direction, whether it worked or not. This is my direction. I'm the captain of the boat now. This is the way we're going to do things. But transitioning an entire team to now follow this new leadership can be very difficult, and you can lose a lot in sales or momentum when people are trying to learn the new system.
Or messaging. Sometimes you're messaging people, the sales folks or people on the team just don't believe in the vision. A lot of CEOs don't really articulate the vision properly, and you're just left at a spot where, what does it matter? Should I go extra hard for this and whatever? Right. And it's just difficult. Before we continue, guys, quick commercial break. More than a title mug, since we talked about sales. No coffee tastes better. you designed it, baby.
No, I'm not angry at that. I'm just angry at the fact that you still have my cup over there at your house, so I'm still stuck with. Where's the hold on? Though, if you're going to do, where's the cup with your name on it?
Oh, it doesn't allow for coffee. That's for drinks. It's too early for those drinks.
I thought it was like a thermos cup. It's not a thermos cup.
It is, but I prefer,
Okay, I got you. Okay,
I
would like to pick up mine this week, sir, if you don't mind. So
I'll put your DreamData cup, Chadeo, then.
Oh, there it goes. Can we get a branded, co-branded cup?
I'm not mad at it, but when we're talking about just acquisitions in general, we're having a business conversation, right? Business is very difficult, right? And then compound what you've already said, Steffen. You're in a niche business, which means not a lot of people specialize in this thing anyway. So now take what we just said and then narrow the field all the way down for the few people that you can actually get that actually know the business, and then try to integrate them.
Very difficult.
Very difficult.
Yeah. Very difficult. And what happened? And I'm curious, because somebody said this to me too, Steffen, that when the entrepreneurial fire starts burning, there's no way to put it out unless you do it. So you go through this merger. When did the entrepreneurial fire start burning for you, and why?
That's a good question. I think that actually even started at university already. Kind of had that feeling of the coolest thing you could be would be to be like a serial entrepreneur, like continuously building new companies. But then I think I'm also a little bit scared or conservative by nature. So like my path kind of into it has been to kind of, actually worked at 3 different startup, scale-up companies. And after my last tenure, I felt like I've seen enough to, okay, now I know how to run a business. I know how to go from 0 to 1 in a lot of cases. So now I actually dare to take the jump. Whereas if you've been more happy to take on risks, you might have started earlier than what I did. But I can and that kind of thing, that was probably like a 10-year span from when I finished university. That's probably like just about 10 years from finishing university until starting my own company with my 2 co-founders, going through 3 different kind of startups. Like for the music platform, we were 2 people when I started. Upwork were like 300-400 when I finished, and then Airtime, where I was, we went from 15 to 100 people. So saw kind of all sorts of this, kind of a few people up to 100 or a couple of hundred. So I felt like, okay, if not now, then when? Because now I feel like I have the skills needed. And I think, you need to find your own path. And like at that point, I felt like, okay, now if I don't take the change now, maybe I'll never do that. But other people like risks better, and then they jump straight from school up into starting a company. And I think all paths are great.
Yeah, much power to those people who start right after college, because this shit is hard. This shit is difficult to do all of that. And how can you tell us the story of how you met your co-founders? Because it's very difficult making a tech platform, and you being a sales guy in SEO, but not I don't know if you're a dev. So how does that work? How did you meet your co-founders, and how did you guys go out building a tech?
That's actually it's quite a cute story, cute story in lack of better words. So the company I was at before is called Airtame, and we're selling to B2B companies, to schools, B2B companies. And we're selling this screen sharing device to these schools. And we went from being like 15 to close to 100 employees, and went from spending $0 in ads per month to spending around $100,000 in ads per month. And in that kind of scale up phase, you go from like the first $10,000 you put in, you kind of see the correlation between ad spend, and then, hey, we sold something in Iceland because we ran a campaign in Iceland. Okay, simple. But the last 10, 20, 30, 40,000 you put into the ad spend, you have no clue about and is it worth it or not. And I've always thought that you should be doing marketing to produce revenue for your company. Like, marketing should be an investment in growing your business. So I didn't want to just like throw money out the window. I kind of, even though I was in B2B, I wanted that kind of e-commerce focus, that we put money into this campaign and then revenue comes out on the other side. And then I just like one day I got an introduction from a local investor saying that, hey, I got these two guys that are starting this platform that is solving this kind of, I don't know if it's set attribution, but like they're trying to help companies understand their ad spend or something like that. And those two guys, Lars and Ole, which is now my two co-founders, came actually to pitch me their product at my last company. And because they were just starting out, they only had like a very, very ugly prototype and a slideshow. And but we gave them our data. It was pre-GDPR and all that, that stuff. So we just, here's all our data, go have fun with it, and let's see what happens. And what they were actually, after a week or two, they came back to us and started saying, hey, these campaigns you ran here, they actually produced revenue 6 or 12 months later. And these blog posts you wrote here, they are incredibly valuable. And they started to do these connections between the B2B marketing activities we were doing and seeing that revenue outcome from these things, which is, I think, what 99% of all B2B marketers struggle with, is to explain. Do you have this inherent challenge that the average B2B journey is like 6 or 12 months or something like that? So
absolutely,
when you put in your activity, your money, it's going to take 6 or 12 months before they come back. And Google Analytics, CRM systems, ad platforms, etc., can't explain this to you. But because I could see these two guys actually were able to show me those numbers, though the product was extremely ugly, I knew by heart that this is for real a challenge, that a pain that most people in marketing and B2B marketing in particular must be feeling. So I felt like, okay, there's some really smart, they were the CTO and a CPO of a review platform called Trustpilot. Yeah, it's a consumer-facing, like,
it's a review platform.
Your local pizzeria or your local shop or whatever. But they had been kind of leading building that. So I knew, okay, by their CV, they must be very smart. When I talked to them, they're very smart. And I knew that kind of, the pain that they were addressing was very real as well. And then joined with that I had always had that feeling that at some point it could be cool to start your own thing. So kind of all these things coming together at the right time made me think that, okay, if I joined them, then at least you can't tell me that I'd never took the chance of actually trying to get something off the ground.
Yeah, that's amazing. You know, as you're saying that, I don't know if you feel comfortable sharing this, but how do you negotiate getting in the business, being that they started it, they have the founder, you have the knowledge and the information. So how did you negotiate you being a founder with them?
That's a good question. I think they, as well as me, saw the good team composition, that a product guy and an engineering guy, they probably lacked somebody that were a little bit more commercially facing, whether that's running marketing or selling or, and on top of that, I kind of represented also that the ideal persona that we're actually still selling to today, which are the B2B marketers, the B2B marketing leaders out there. So they were actually they were very fair, and they could see that kind of the three of us together made up a better foundation for success than just the two of them alone.
Makes sense. Makes
But
sense to me.
still, in any way, it's still a leap of faith that you need to take, and it could have gone completely fucked.
Yeah.
But it did turn out. It's turned out well, and we're I think we're still happily together.
There you go. 4 years.
Yeah, they I don't know if you've they actually have been doing more studies, more case studies on this, and they put out a lot of information based on just an overall survey of entrepreneurs and when they start within their life, and it's looking like the average base time for an entrepreneur to actually not think about the idea, because as children and coming up, we all think about a million ideas. Oh, I could think of this, I could think of that, but we don't put it into play, right? I think the baseline average age, believe it or not, is like high 30s, like 38 to 40.
That makes sense.
Yeah, when people actually say, okay, I'm tired of having the ideas. I think it's because you've experienced life so much at that point, right? You've gone through a job or two, changed your career, maybe done some schooling, you understand? And I think at that maturity level, you have a different understanding of what needs to be done because you've been working, we're talking the majority, as a worker. Yeah. So now you kind of understand what it would take to be the owner and run the entire thing. So I don't know. How old are you, Steffen?
Actually, I just turned 40. It's still.
So you see? So you see? Look at that. So you say 4 years. So if you say 4 years, then if you say 4 years, then that was roughly 36. So it kind of puts you again right into that age range, and that's what they were saying, right? That you need that emotional and mental maturity to go through life to a certain extent before you actually press go. So that makes sense. I think
it's so true, Chadeo. And you go to school and you read some books, but you don't really have any skills.
There it goes.
You need to go out and try doing real stuff. And I failed, and I've wasted so much money in my past jobs because I hadn't tried things before. So, that didn't work, or that didn't work, and that didn't work. But after 10 years in startups, I've tried a lot of stuff, and then found out a few recipes of stuff that actually work. So because I started later, then I think that also increased the likelihood of becoming successful. At least, let's say, as long as you keep on learning in every job you have, then you're still just continuously putting yourself in a better position for starting on your own at some point.
Yeah. And I would even change what you said. Instead of wasting money, you invested in finding the right answer. That's really what if you really look at it, man, you invest in that, and that's what we've done too, because we're a year into business right now, so we're a successful business now. But like you said, it was me looking in the B2B space and saying something is off. Why is the same messaging the same thing, right? Why am I sending 1,000 cold emails to somebody who doesn't want to take a meeting with me or book an appointment, right? And then when I do get you on the call, you're just kind of taking a pity call. I'm doing a discovery call. You're not giving me the answer, the information I need to sell you. You're not in a position to. You might not even be the right person to sign off. You might be just somebody who could hand me off to John. And John is is hard as heck to talk to. So what was the biggest challenge when you started the business? You met the founders, you're going to market, and I'm assuming you guys were in Europe, right? Where you guys were already going to market. So especially the US market, what was that like, bringing the product to here? And what was the biggest lesson or obstacle you faced?
I think the first thing we needed to solve was that we needed to raise an investment because we'd agreed. All of us I had one kid, the others had 2 and 3 kids, and now I have 2 kids as well. But so we needed salary. So we need to raise some investment so we can pay out some salary, so we can pay for diapers and food, etc. So that was the first challenge, and we managed to raise some money from something called Seed Camp in London, which is kind of the elite pre-seed investment you can get in Europe. And then okay, check that off. And then the next thing is it's kind of then I knew our product was great, but all the knowledge was just inside the brain of my 2 co-founders. So I had to interview them and try to translate whatever technical crap they were saying into stuff that other people could actually understand. So that process of the product marketing thing, where you explain what the technology is, but also why it's valuable. Also took a long time before that. Actually, there was a website where you can go to. And once the website was solved, then I actually experienced the exact same thing as you, Jarrett, that I feel so unscalable doing like one-on-one outbounding when I know I'm a marketer. I can find 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 people that are all of the right sort that I can give one message instead of me pitching one by one by one by one.
There it goes.
And initially I listened too much to the local venture capital companies here that say, hey, you're in B2B, so you should do outbound. But I had no skills in outbound, but because we were just starting out, you listen. So you take too much advice from other people rather than just owning your what I already knew I was good at. So I had like the first 6 or 12 months, I was like juggling between listening to these VCs saying, hey, proper seed, like venture capital companies, they do outbound. But that was not my skill set, and I felt it was so ineffective. And once we switched to just focusing on an inbound model where we, did marketing, presence on LinkedIn, community building, sending like emails to forums of geeks of online marketing, etc. Then all of it took off because we knew how to do marketing. We didn't know how to do this one-on-one outbound.
That's amazing. And it was the VC you said that was pressing for you guys to do outbound.
Yeah, exactly. Then they would have like portfolio companies of like where they would have like 30 outbounders just sitting and calling and like spam messaging people, and it felt so wrong to me.
Oh, absolutely. My thing was when I was selling was, all right, I send 100 emails out, right? I get that one meeting out of those 100 emails. What about the 99 other people that think I'm an asshole and hate our brand?
And also then sitting in a meeting you booked outbound feels where you still have to continue to sell. Whereas if you've generated the demand yourself by them following you for 3 or 6 months on LinkedIn, then they come educated to that sales call and they will ask you questions and they know who you are. And hey, you were in New York last week. And that sales conversation is just a lot more nice than where you've just pushed through that one outbound meeting.
Message. You about to say something, bro?
No, I mean, my thing is we've had this conversation before. It's what the system was, Steffen.
Yeah.
If one thing works and it's been proven to work to whatever level, then obviously people are going to use that system until somebody comes along and says, here's a better way to do things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that by you, once again, you had to experience it, right? So when you open up DreamData, you're like, we're not doing one thing we're not going to do is do that. But you had to experience it, right? Same thing with Jarrett. Jarrett went through the cold call. So when he wanted to open up his own company, the first thing he said, we're not doing that. We're not making cold calls. Like, I don't want to be that. Again, that's what comes along with the experience of being the worker first, experiencing the system. You learn the do's and the don'ts. It's almost really beneficial to you to go that route first. You know why? Not being funny, but if you fuck up, it's on somebody else's dime. If you fuck up, it's on somebody else's dime anyway. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, you're not wasting a lot of your money because you're a worker. You only have to worry about this much instead of the entire building. You know what I mean? So you can kind of learn the mistakes, make some mistakes yourself, see what the system is, see what the flaws in the system are. And then when you come up with a solution to fix that problem, that's when you create your own business. Because what is business really, right? Providing a service to a customer that they don't have or that they need, right? Or fixing a problem that they have. That's the nature of business itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna challenge it too, man. I think people know that the outbound system is bullshit. Right. I just don't think people actually calculated the numbers. I find it hard to believe that I was a 22-year-old going into a sweatshop. There's basically nothing but cold calls, and I'm looking at 100 people across the room and seeing 20, 30 people not closing a deal for the day and thinking, whoa, that's a waste of effing money. Right? Like, I know I could have been the only person thinking that. I just think they just like, hey, well, that's the only way we know how to, instead of coming out with an outside the box solution versus what we're doing now, like with the social selling and things like that. So you're in market now. You're in the US. The VCs are telling you do outbound. You said, no, I'm not doing outbound. We're going to build community. We're going to create content that brings our customers to us. What was the step? Like, what was what was the coolest moment when you came to market, right? What was like the moment is like, holy shit, this is working for us, right? And how do we double down?
I think there's probably that I can give you 3 examples of stuff that really worked, but I think you just nailed a super important marketing lesson there, Jarrett, of just doubling down on whatever the fuck works.
Yep.
Like too many marketers are just slaves of trying to, I need to try this, I need to try this, I need to try this, I need to try this. But you need to find stuff that works, and then you need to keep drilling just on this thing to extract more and more value out of it, because that's what's going to pay for all the other experiments. So when you find something that works, double, triple, 10x, whatever, that one thing, before you move on to all sorts of other new ideas that could be fun or could work at some point. But yeah, I promise you 3 examples of stuff that like tangibly worked. The first thing I can remember is there's this website called growthhackers.com, which used to have like a digest of the week of the best community contributions, so that like put in your growth recipe here, and then people could upvote it, and then if it would do the top 5, it would be sent onwards to like a newsletter list of 100,000 growth hacker interested people.
Wow.
So I took one of these, like I interviewed my CTO, and like, what is it actually that we're building, and like, give me the recipe exactly of how we're building our product. And then I put that recipe up on this community, and that post, I think it went best of the week or something like that, and that completely filled the demo booking calendar. And then I hit, instead of speaking to one person by one person by one person, I wrote a great blog post. I submitted to a community of like people that are just interested in growth hacking. And then we managed to get that post as one of the best of the week. And then we got to a lot more people building the brand, and we got demo bookings in there. So that was kind of that was one thing where I realized, yes, we can go the marketing route here instead of going that outbound route.
Yeah.
I just need to find really good communities. Then I need to contribute to these communities. I need to give value so they come and look, who are we and what is it that we do as well.
Message.
That's another one. That's a gem right there. You know, and that was a message.
That's so funny. Okay, I'll do two more tactics, and then I'll explain like another inflection point for us.
Okay.
Social selling has been huge for us as well. I think we started like very frequently posting on LinkedIn 2.5 years ago, and we. The reason why we'd kind of been discussing loosely in the team, hey, let's try and post on LinkedIn, etc., but never really felt like it was working. And then Laura, my colleague, did one post where I think she did hashtag attribution. And then there's this like B2B influencer called Chris Walker. He stepped into the comment field of her post, and she had like 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 followers. So it was no reach from her. But when he stepped in there in that comment field, because he had that narrative going that like fuck attribution and stuff, etc.
Yeah, dark social.
He brought in kind of his whole army of posts paying attention to that one post, because he'd probably just been monitoring that hashtag. And her post suddenly it reached 50,000 people, and you can just see the engagement blew up because that guy opened the floodgates to that post. And without doing anything else, that day was the day we had the most demo bookings and the most visitors on the website, even though Laura's post would not have a direct link to our website. And because had been in marketing that much, you start to smell blood, and you can see like kind of, okay, here's something.
Yeah, this
here's
is
something we need to pay attention to. And like from there on, we made it like it was at the end of Q1, and in Q2 we then started like, let's do like a team goal of getting to just 300,000 views of our post. We ended up hitting that at like 550,000 views of our post. We were like just 5-6 people posting or something like that.
Wow!
And ever since then, we've just seen that this is a fantastic way to generate awareness about who you are and what your company do, etc. And it's really been the main driver of awareness for our company now.
LinkedIn is so underutilized and untapped, man. First of all, and shout out to Chris Walker. That's my guy. He's actually,
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw it on the intro before we played it. He's actually on our intro.
Nice. He's great. He's great.
Yeah.
And if any, he's the master of. If not you, Jarrett, it's Chris who's the master of posting on LinkedIn.
No, he got me started.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
it would be him, Chris, Madison.
I need to do a shout out for Gary Vaynerchuk as well, which I've been following the last 12, 15 years or something like that. I think it was Gary and then Chris and then now it's gonna be Jarrett.
Yeah. No, it was Chris for sure for me, man. It was just and Gong. I'm not gonna lie, Gong made it important to me. So I'm looking at them from a team perspective. It's like, wow, even the effing janitor has a personal brand, like the SDRs. Udi has one, the salesperson. Then they had Devin, who we had on Chad. They had Devin at the team. So I'm looking at them and they're all doing hundreds of thousands of impressions. And I'm only thinking to myself, damn, what is the actual how is that impacting the revenue?
Yeah,
they look happy. They're smiling. I could imagine sales is easy, and I'm sitting there trying to grade thousands of pieces of content to get one fucking meeting. You know what I mean? But it worked for us. And so, for anyone listening, LinkedIn is still untapped, y'all. Still content deficient platform. People aren't posting. There's a lot of stuff that but if you just hone down on your niche, hone down on your message for 3 to 6 months, and what we call it, Steffen, is the LinkedIn bug. This is what we teach. Is that one post, like you acknowledge, that you realize that the visibility and the reach is far greater than other platforms that you're on. And so you double down on that network. So if you guys want to know more about that, we've got courses. We've got all that. If you want to bet on yourself, man, let us know. Steffen and Jarrett, we're doing courses, baby. We go to brands and we teach this.
Yeah, it's so powerful. And like it's crazy to think about this place on the internet where it's a catalog of exactly the people you want to reach. Yep. You can connect with 100 of them every week. There's going to be a conversion rate. 1 out of 3 is going to say yes to be connected with you. And you can then continuously just pump out great content right in their face. Yeah. They'll just consume and consume and consume. And one day they'll show up at your doorstep.
Do you use a tool or anything to track your marketing in LinkedIn? So we used to use something called LeadJet. You ever heard of that?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Yeah,
any traffic that arrives to our website from LinkedIn, we can do great attribution to. But I think it is kind of this, how should I say it? It's more kind of audience or community development metrics you should be caring about on LinkedIn, because either way, you're most likely only going to be able of this organic to attribute the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
So don't stress too much about it. When you've had that experience as Laura had with that one post, you just see, okay, I don't have to worry too much about attributing, because if I can just see I'm connecting with the right people, the reach is blowing up, the engagement is blowing up, then it's worth spending my time on this thing.
Yeah, there it goes.
Yeah, my thing is, and I know y'all breezed past it, but I like to always backtrack. Community, man, you said it, and I think we have to really emphasize it's not just about posting. Yeah, I'm telling you that right now. It's not. That's not what makes people connect with you. Like you said, Steffen, you're watching people, right? You're consuming it, but that's not just because they're posting. It's because you believe in their post, right? And you believe in their story, and the things that they're saying to you resonates with you. So now you become part of their community. You know what I mean? And what that does is, one, it'll lock you into the person, but 2, like you said, it makes you more susceptible now to, if they offer something, to be like, oh, let me hear it out at least, right? And let me hear what you got, or maybe let me throw an idea by you. Let's work together. It breaks that cold call barrier completely down.
Yeah. Agree. And it's like treating people well. Like if somebody does you a favor, make sure you DM them and say thank you, or like ship them some merch, or like buy them a beer or a coffee. Like we do, like you guys, we do weekly LinkedIn lives as well, where we try to bring in experts and talk with them, and we keep it completely open, so anybody who wants to learn from these experts, they can just consume their knowledge, and we're not asking for anything in return besides them connecting, and we
That's
we
it.
follow each other, and that's it. Sometimes I think we're probably almost too soft in our conversion focus, but we just try like the Gary, we give like give.
They'll come back to you.
Yeah.
They'll come to teach people how to fish. They'll learn you sell fishing poles.
Yeah.
That goes back to that, man. And you said there was a third one too, because I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut you. I got excited with the LinkedIn stuff.
Yeah, let's okay. So there's another tactic. I'll skip that. I think what the most important inflection point for us is really to widely define what is our ideal customer profile for our company. Like, who are we deliberately trying to sell to? Yeah. Who are we not for? Like, and actually it's easier to start out with an antithesis to kind of who are we selling to. So write down all the people you're not selling to, so that your team knows, your product team knows who we're building product for. The marketing needs to know who are we trying to attract. The sales team needs to know who are we trying to sell to. So all those different teams, they all somewhat move in the same direction because you have agreed this is our ideal customer profile.
Yeah, absolutely. And my question, because with the ideal customer profile, I think it's much easier when you're scaling the business because you have the data to reflect who is our ideal customer, why they bought from us, why we lost from XY competitor, right? How did you identify your ideal customer profile when it was just you and the co-founders?
So I think when you're like, we're in software subscription software, so we thought a lot about who's most likely to become so happy that they will renew their contracts, because investors get so mad if they see churn in your numbers. So we thought a lot about who can we sell to that is going to be really happy and is willing to pay a lot of money and will renew their contracts. For us, that was B2B software companies. Like, we help companies understand their customer journeys, and we connect their activities to revenue. And brick and mortar companies don't generate a lot of data, so the likelihood of them becoming happy customers afterwards is not large. But B2B software companies, they do digital marketing, they do inside sales, and they deliver their product digitally as well. So we would have that kind of full customer journey. We will have like digital touches all along that customer journey. So we basically said to ourselves, like, these are the companies in the world that is most likely to become the most happy about our product. And we've continued on like focusing on them ever since. But it also helps kind of that whole, who should you spend your 100 connects with per week on LinkedIn? Well, spend it on exactly that audience that you want to be building. So whenever you put out your messaging, whenever you put out new product, it's going to resonate with these people because you have actively decided these are the ones we sell to. And this also means sometimes not selling to people who show up at your doorstep saying, hey, can I buy your product? Which it can be painful sometimes if you need to make rent and so forth.
I tried to let you get the last sentence, but I don't. Oh man, gets a double. You don't have to sell because the some person saying does that.
Yeah, if you know people are not going to be happy with your product, or you're going to spend 1 million resources on them and you're still not going to be able to make them happen, just don't take them on as customers.
Do you have an example you don't mind sharing of maybe how that happened and how that impacted the business?
So we signed some really large B2B hardware companies that are selling through like distribution channels. So they would be like, imagine they sell their product through a distributor, and the distributor wouldn't necessarily tell you who's the end user of the product. And for us, we could sign big contracts with these companies, but for our product that aims to explain how does this company end up at the right account at which person, we couldn't prove that because they have completely horrible data to show this. But it's like, there's a big contract here and it's an esteemed brand, so let's take the chance. And then you end up investing a lot of product resources in them just to see that a year down the line they're not going to renew their contract. Wow. So like, think about who's going to be becoming a happy customer before you sign the contract. Wow. Like you guys at OTB, you're living off your name as well, and if you fuck up, it's going to haunt your reputation at some point.
You're not lying.
Yeah, but I think that's extremely difficult, almost impossible sometimes to do, right? Companies can pivot midstream and go a whole different direction without warning. You understand what I'm saying? Again, restructuring changes, data analytics, you're getting in, you don't like the numbers. With business is always a numbers game. So yeah, you can predict and say this company is very likely to sign with us again, right?
Yeah.
But somewhere down that line, they can do an internal audit and say, this is just not working for us. Like, it's working, but it's not getting us to where we need to get to. So what do? Yes, we already paid for the services. Do we continue to go down the path and put more resources and money into it, knowing now that it's not going to give us what we want? Or do we just, kind of cut where we are and start fresh?
But I was gonna say, but that's why it was so important for you to get out of that situation, because you didn't have a one-to-one relationship with the customer. It's like what we do, bro. It's like we're doing the editing for the podcast and things like that. We give it to our client, he white labels our service, then he gives it to the actual client. We don't have no say there. Right now, all of our whole sales process is dependent on somebody else, and that's what it was with the distributor, right?
Yeah. Another challenge we've had has been when we were selling to smaller companies like 30 or 50 people. And we would only have one internal champion at that customer. And then if they changed jobs or got fired, we would be, damn, it's all over again now. So now we've also moved. That has kind of steered our definition of an ideal customer to be has to be above 100 employees. So we'd at least have 2, 3, 4, 5 users of our platform rather than just having that one single one.
Yeah.
So the definition of an ideal customer should be dynamic as well. And as you say, Chadeo, as you learn stuff, just kind of that definition of what is an ideal customer now.
But look what you did. Look what you did. Technically, a small business is not a business with 100 employees. I'm just telling you that right off the bat. That is not the definition of a small business. So what you did very quickly was say, you know what? Small businesses below this threshold, we don't want to deal with. We only want to deal with the mid-tier now going into the higher tier, which makes sense for your business model, right? But then now when I say now, if you think about acquiring another company, right, or something like that, now you can give that business to the other company and they can handle the lower because it's still the same market. Why give the market away? You understand what I'm saying, right? Why give the market away, right? Because like you said, if we're going to both be doing the same exact thing, somebody's going to get that money, right? So, but if your side of the company's like, we want to focus here, now your option is either give the money away totally, right? Or let these guys handle it as almost like a separate entity when you own them also.
Yeah. Can't wait to us having enough dough to go out.
I'm just saying, right?
It makes complete sense.
I'm just thinking about it because, look, a great example of that is car manufacturers, right? You have low-level car manufacturers who also have a luxury brand, right? Toyota is the low level, Lexus is their luxury brand, Honda's the low level, Acura is their luxury brand, et cetera, right? Ford and Lincoln, right? So that's exactly what they're doing, right? One company says, we want this market here, but we don't want to give up that money over there. So with this, right? So with this brand, this label, Lexus, where our cars start at, 40, 50,000, go to 100,000. But with the Toyota line, you can get a $15,000 car. It's still a car, right? Because everybody needs a car, right? Or, most people need a car, but it's just a lower level where we're not totally giving up that market share.
We'll work with them.
On
TV.
No,
I'm joking with you.
No. The reason I say it because the economic state of the world constantly changes, right? And I'm just gonna say this to you, right? A rule of thumb is never give anything up. If you give it up, you never get it back. So a lot of companies have actually went bankrupt because they've given up a certain portion of that market share because they didn't think it was profitable. And they chased the higher value, right? And then when somebody else came in and snatched that part of the market share, now they're like, oh, now that we got it, you can't get it back. You understand what I'm saying? So when it comes, so when it comes to and again, like I'm a construction worker by trade, right? We've done it. We're union. We come in at a certain level union wise, but guess what? There's a lot of non-union work. And you know what they say? We can't afford union wages. So what are we going to do? Give up the entire market share and get no work? Or what we did was we created a separate rate, what we call the B rate or even a C rate. And we say you still can do it union. We'll give you an agreement just for that project. We'll lower the numbers down and we'll still obtain the market share.
Smart.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, you know, it's just about trying to I think really diversify your portfolio as a company, not put all your eggs into one basket, you know, just in case, because there's a lot of times that things happen like COVID, right? That nobody expected to happen that can technically completely kill your market share. And then if you have nothing else to rely on other than that, now what happens to your company?
It's gonna be trouble.
If I raise up, gonna be trouble.
So that's the only reason I brought that up. You know what I mean? I think what you guys are doing is I think you have a niche, right? Like I said, but because it's a niche, take all of the niche. You understand what I'm saying? Like, don't just take the top part of the niche, take the bottom too, because you already said it yourself. Not that many people do it.
Yeah.
And once you gotten good at doing it, because now you guys have a formula, now you guys know how to do it, right? Yeah. It's not recreating the wheel no more. It's just letting somebody else just use the wheel at this level.
But the beauty of what you guys do is the attribution is always going to be needed. There's always going to be a need to provide ROI or show ROI for marketing dollars going out, man. That's the big thing. Nobody knows what they're spending. Nobody knows what's going on. Like, so back in the 08, like his company been great for us because I was selling ads like hotcakes. I was selling $50,000, $100,000 ads, right? Selling them like hotcakes. The only problem was they didn't have any attribution. You got 100,000 views, you pay $50,000. Then what the hell actually happened? And they were burning money. That was the wild, wild west, bro. We was making money hand over fist. And your company is going to the larger company and saying, look, if you're going to invest $50,000 with this platform or this programmatic tool, this is what happened with the customer journey, right? So like, you know, so it's always going to be needed, man. And do you guys do affiliates and stuff too?
Not that many actually. We get a lot of like agencies coming to us every month because they understand the problem and we try to get them to resell the product, but it's not really in a structured fashion.
Makes sense.
But how mobile is the product, Steffen? Because look, Jarrett is an influencer, right? One of his biggest conversations is the ROI from somebody coming to invest in him to either make a post or support a post, and him saying, okay, this is the attribution I'm getting, these are the followers, these are the connections, this is the outreach, and them understanding in their terms what the ROI is to that. Is that not the stasis of what influencers go through right now?
Yeah, do you do it for individual influencers? That's something how you're going to scale to now. Now I'm thinking about it because that's something I had with Hootsuite. So when I was working at Hootsuite, right, I was doing a couple million impressions, right? They would post me, I'd post myself. But the problem was when people who like my shit and they go to the Hootsuite website and they're looking for recruiting, jobs, new demos, right? I'm on the account management team, so I wouldn't get those new demo requests, right? So I couldn't prove the ROI, the attribution for that, but I knew it was value and they knew it was value. So do you guys do something is that where you're scaling towards? Because I think that could be really fucking valuable.
You gotta be big.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like, so we're there's rumors of LinkedIn having an organic API that you can plug into. So right now we only extract the data from the ads that you engage with. But if we could get that you actually organically, socially engaged with that dude from this company as part of their customer journey, becoming towards them buying your product, then we can really start to extremely attribute to the value of LinkedIn for sure.
I would love that. But wouldn't that be a good pitch for LinkedIn? You could just say, hey, look, I'm going to LinkedIn. I need a conversation with the revenue intelligence team. And look, I want to be able to prove that your guys' network is actually driving ROI to these brands, right? And if you show that, they're going to stay on LinkedIn. Now you put a hold on the market.
Yeah, no, we're an official marketing partner of LinkedIn, so their reps recommend our tool as a way to understand the value of LinkedIn's ads, and we have a great collaboration with them.
Love that, man. If you need a guinea pig for the LinkedIn stuff,
I think it's dope that they already Steffen, we might have given you the golden goose right here. I'm telling you.
Gave him the goose.
You already have the relationship, which you do. You're already a partner, right? It's not a cold call. It's you calling whoever your connection is and saying, let me just shoot this idea by you. Even if it doesn't happen, today, you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes ideas take time to develop. If you start the process of at least having the conversation, I think by the time because you might have to develop a certain software or something, right, to do this now in the way that you want it to do. So that will take time. But I think if you start the conversation early and let them know that there's even a possibility to do that, because one of LinkedIn's biggest things is keeping people on platform.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keeping people on platform. So if you can do that, and then you can show not only can I do it, but we can show you the exact conversion rates of when they leave, who they're leaving to, and why they're leaving. That's a gold mine.
Also, but it goes back to your point, what you saying about Wade, bro. Remember, we had Wade Empire. I don't know if you're familiar with him, Steffen, but he's one of the biggest influencers on LinkedIn and Instagram and TikTok. He has millions of followers, right? So we had him on. But a big problem is knowing your worth as an influencer. If you have 1 million followers, right, what is that price point? How do you set? What is the bar? What is the bar for a nano? What is the bar for a macro or micro? And it only should be based on what are the actions of the users that you're engaging with, right? Yeah. And if you have that, I'm telling you that's where it is. Because we don't know. There's no transparency, right? Wade isn't going to tell me his price. But if I can say I got this amount of engagement from this amount of people and it actually drove these X amount of sales, my price should actually be this, and maybe have an AI tool say what that price should actually be.
You know why? Because Steffen already said it. Think about his previous campaign when they attributed how many people went to the store, how much they were charging per person, etc. If you have a model, you can run with a working model. Even if you tweak it later, you can say, okay, like YouTube does, right? Or TikTok, you need a certain amount of subscribers to get paid a certain amount. Then what's the difference in doing that for LinkedIn? You can do the same exact thing and say, hey, with engagement, a certain amount of accounts reached equals this amount of $. Start with something, have people give their input, and then build the standard from there.
The problem is there's not a lot of ads on LinkedIn. Not much as YouTube to do a one-to-one where it's a creator fund created. That's the problem.
But think about the ad. What kind of ad are we talking about? Because anybody can create an ad.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying like the B2B ads, a lot of business.
B2B ads.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So like if you go on LinkedIn, right? Like the thing with YouTube, you're gonna see Domino's, you're gonna see, any car platform, whatever it is, right? There's an abundance of advertisers versus you're not going to see Nordstrom on LinkedIn.
Right. No commercials and stuff.
No B2C is which is stupid. They should be there, right? So you're not going to be having that. It's going to be DreamData trying to create a ad. They're going to boost it out. They're going to try to get their conversion. They're going to gate whatever. They're going to do their marketing stuff. Right. So that's going to be the problem, right? So it's not enough ad dollars and revenue there to justify the creator platform, especially when organic is going out the window. We know organic is better.
But let me just ask you this. What do we always talk about? If we sat down and said we're going to come up with an ad or whatever, right? We put a clickable link, we put a clickable, trackable link in the ad or whatever. People do that right now every day. and
you're right.
And we send it out. And a lot of the times, what do you say? How do we know how many people went to whatever based on that click? Or if they use the click, they go to the website or wherever we want them to go. What if they don't buy in the moment? What if, like you said, they leave and come back a week later and then buy or forward it? Is it trackable? Right.
Yeah, and that's what DreamData helps with.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. So I mean, technically people are doing that right now. No,
but not on the micro influencer level. Gotcha. You know, it's very broad, but if you can say it individually for me, and the problem is with those links, right? And you tell me, I would love your opinion, Steffen. Links don't work well on LinkedIn. So
I think the algorithm deliberately shuts down the reach when you put in. It's super annoying.
So you got to put it in the comments, and that's the bullshit. So it's like, you know, I can get the reach of 50,000 impressions, and then I can put it in the comment. But are you actually going to click on it? And will it affect my reach? Because we want to keep people on platforms. So I really can't even do attribution one-to-one from a platform like LinkedIn. They got to fix that. But once again, their thing is I want to keep people on platform because we don't have an abundance of ads that we can, you know what I mean? So we can't
I think
compete.
that's why they limit the the reach of those
I
posts.
think this is a great conversation that we need to continue. You know, Steph.
Yeah.
We're gonna put you in a
I'll
group
be sure
chat.
to ship you some champagnes if we ever execute.
Wait,
Please.
if you see champagne, I need a DreamData champagne flute or something like that. So when I drink it, they can see it on the glass or something like that. You know what I mean? No, I really think that would be a good lane for you guys. I really do, man. You have the infrastructure to make it happen. You have the relationship to make it happen.
Yeah.
I just think the conversation needs to be started.
That's it.
Yep.
Man, and bringing that and you roll that out to your influencer, roll it out to Chris Walker, roll it out to myself, roll it out to other influencers, so we can actually have that. Like the only analytics we have on LinkedIn is Shield, and I'm pretty sure you use it, Stefan. You use Shield?
I have done. I don't use it. I think actually the native one on LinkedIn has become quite.
It's become better.
Yeah.
But it's still top level fluffy. It doesn't give you a whole picture
No,
of
no,
what's really happening. And
no.
if you can solve that, man, that's a home run, man. But I know we're coming out. I know we're past the hour, brother.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you again, man, because I enjoyed this conversation. I'm like, damn, I wish we'd have had that in the beginning, because this was really good. This LinkedIn talk. Look. But
you know how conversation goes sometimes. You know, it flows. So
it's super nice.
Yeah,
man. But we appreciate you, man. Next time you're in New York, please let us know. We extend our invitation to all of our guests, man. We'd love to go to a restaurant, continue the conversation, man. If there's anything that we could help you with, you know, have friends on this side of the pond, brother, that are active in the B2B space, and we're rooting for you, man, for sure.
You probably know the good places in New York to go to as well.
Oh, you missed it. We took Kelly. You missed it, man. We came there ready for you.
Listen, we were looking for you to make sure you had a good time before you left. Yeah, we had a great time.
Yeah,
but
and shout out to Hot Sauce and Hot Jar.
We're gonna start the group chat with me, you, and Jarrett. That way, again, we won't miss each other next time. If you're gonna come in, you just let us know, hey, flying in this guy's, you know, what's your schedule, and we can definitely make sure that we link up and we have we show you a good time how we do it over here.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
Wonderful.
Yeah, yes, and I'm putting a number in the group chat. If you can put yours in the private chat.
Yeah,
that'd be great, man. Just text us. But for everybody listening, man, thank you again for another episode of More Than Title. Stefan, where can they reach you at, man?
LinkedIn.com and then find my name. Yeah.
Look at his name. Go to LinkedIn. He'll connect with you guys. Please make sure you support DreamData.io. If you're a B2B brand looking for attribution, please take a look. You know, please support. We've got another episode this week with Shannon Holmes, best-selling author of Be More Careful. And next week, we've got a lot of in-persons. We got a lot of new content for you guys. So make sure you continue to support More Than a Title. And Chad, what you want to take us home with? What we want to do? Want to say something else?
Nah, man, listen, it was a great show, Steven. We enjoyed you being on here. This is I'm telling you right now, this is definitely the first conversation of many that needs to be had, because you got a lot of information. And I think because you're in that niche platform, man, we have to continue this conversation, you know. And listen, I look forward to us having another conversation and meeting up again, man. It's More Than a Title. You know what it is. We dropped some more gems on y'all today.
Let's do it.
Wonderful. Thanks for the invitation, guys.
More gems and more gems.
Let's get it, man. See you guys. Let's do it. More Than a Title.